Hey guys, tonight we begin with something that might chisel away at your consciousness until you drift into the deepest sleep of your life, the utterly crushing reality of Roman marble quarrying. We're diving into what life was really like for the thousands of slaves who carved out the very foundations of Roman grandeur. Forget the gladiators and senators Hollywood sold you. Those were the entertainment and politics. The real backbone of the empire was built by people who never saw a denarius for their labor and whose names were carved into exactly 0 monuments, despite literally carving all the monuments. The truth is, if you were dropped into a Roman marble quarry as a slave, you wouldn't survive your first shift. You'd be crushed faster than a senator's promise during election season. And believe me, that's pretty fast when everyone's lying and there's no fact-checkers to call them out. So before you get comfortable in your modern bed with its miracle of ergonomic design and temperature regulation, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy learning about the people history forgot to mention in the pretty parts. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world as we explore the lives of people who never got to see the world beyond their quarry walls because GPS wasn't invented yet, and escaping meant becoming a creative example for other slaves about what happens when you get creative ideas about freedom. Now dim the lights, maybe grab some water because we're about to get very thirsty, just thinking about this, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. A journey through dust, blood, and the kind of manual labor that makes modern construction work look like a gentle yoga session hosted by someone who actually cares about your well-being. You wake up before dawn, not because you want to, not because you set an alarm. You wake up because the overseer's whip cracks like thunder through the slave quarters. The sound echoes off stone walls that you probably helped quarry last month. The irony isn't lost on you. Even your prison is made from your own suffering. Your back screams as you roll off the stone slab that passes for a bed. No mattress, no pillow, just rock. The same rock you'll be breaking all day. Your spine feels like someone played hopscotch on it wearing hobnailed boots, which, come to think of it, isn't far from yesterday's reality. The quarters smell like unwashed bodies, infected wounds, and defeat. 40 men packed into a space designed for maybe 10. Privacy is a concept for people who own property. You are property. The distinction matters more than you'd think. Up, dogs! The overseer's voice cuts through the pre-dawn darkness. His name is Marcus Brutus Severus. Not the famous Brutus, just another Roman with delusions of importance and a talent for creative cruelty. He's the kind of man who would fail a personality test designed by sociopaths. You struggle to your feet. Your legs wobble like a newborn calf's, except calves get to drink milk and eventually become cows. You get to drink water that tastes like it was filtered through a dead fish and eventually become a cautionary tale. The man next to you doesn't get up. His name was Gaius. You don't know his real name. None of you do. The Romans renamed everyone to make record-keeping easier. Gaius used to tell jokes. Yesterday he was coughing blood. Today he's not coughing anything. Is he dead? Whispers the slave on your other side. His Roman name is Lucius. His real name was something beautiful in a language the Romans considered barbaric. Most languages are barbaric to people who think feeding people to lions counts as entertainment. You check Gaius's pulse. Nothing. His skin feels like cold marble. The irony would be poetic if poetry mattered when you're dead. Another one for the pit, Marcus announces with the enthusiasm of someone discussing the weather. He's seen more dead slaves than a battlefield medic. The difference is medics usually try to save people. Marcus just replaces them. You file out of the quarters with 38 other men. Yesterday there were 40. Tomorrow there might be 35. The math is simple. The Romans are excellent at math, especially when it involves calculating acceptable losses. The quarry spreads before you like a wound in the earth's flesh. Terraced levels carve deep into the mountainside. Each level represents years of human suffering, measured in tons of extracted marble. The early morning light hits the white stone and makes it gleam like fresh snow. Beautiful, deadly, like most things the Romans touched. New quotas today, Marcus announces. He's holding a wax tablet covered in numbers that will determine who eats tonight and who joins Gaius in the pit. 10 talents of prime marble per team, 20 talents of second grade. A talent weighs about 75 pounds. Your team has 4 people. That's 750 pounds of prime marble plus 1,500 pounds of lower quality stone. 2,250 pounds total per day, using tools that would make a caveman weep with frustration. Your team consists of you, Lucius, a Germanic tribesman the Romans call Quintus, and a Greek intellectual they renamed Sextus. Sextus used to teach rhetoric in Athens. Now he teaches everyone creative ways to curse in 5 different languages while bleeding from stone splinters. Remember, Sextus mutters in his educated Greek accent, we're building civilization. He says it like he's reading a funeral oration, which, considering your life expectancy, might be more accurate than intended. Quintus just grunts. He's from a tribe that considered Roman civilization an oxymoron before oxymorons were invented. His people measured wealth in cattle and honor in battle scars. The Romans measured both in marble extracted per day by people who would never see either. The tools are distributed. You get a hammer that weighs more than most modern children. The handle is cracked. The head is chipped. It's been used by so many slaves that it's practically a family heirloom. A very dysfunctional family that specializes in breaking rocks and spirits. Quintus receives a set of chisels that look like they were forged during the Republic, possibly by the same blacksmith who made Caesar's assassination daggers. The irony of using tools older than most civilizations to extract stones for buildings that will outlast empires isn't lost on anyone, except maybe Marcus, who thinks irony is what happens to metal in the rain. Lucius gets the measuring tools. Ropes, plumb lines, squares. The Romans are obsessed with precise measurements. Every block must meet exact specifications. Apparently, the gods of architecture are very particular about their offerings. Deviation means punishment. Punishment means less food. Less food means joining Gaius in the pit. Sextus receives the marking tools. Chalk, charcoal, iron styluses. He marks the cutting lines with the precision of a surgeon and the resignation of a condemned man. His hands shake slightly, not from fear, from malnutrition. The Romans believe slaves work better when they're hungry. Motivation through starvation. Very efficient, very Roman. You descend into the quarry proper. The walls tower above you like the ribs of some massive beast, which, metaphorically speaking, is exactly what they are. You're working inside the skeleton of Roman ambition. Every chip of marble feeds the empire's hunger for grandeur. The stone face you're assigned stretches 20 feet high and 30 feet wide. Pure white Carrara marble, the kind that makes sculptors weep with joy and slaves weep with exhaustion. This single section will become columns for a temple in Rome, columns that will support a roof that will shelter worshippers praying to gods who apparently don't answer prayers about working conditions. Start with the horizontal cuts, Sextus instructs. His voice carries the authority of someone who learned engineering by watching his predecessors die from doing it wrong. Remember, the grain runs vertical here. Cut against it, and we'll have nothing but expensive gravel. You position your hammer against Quintus's chisel. This is the dance you've learned over months of 18-hour days. He holds the chisel steady. You swing the hammer. Physics does the rest. Except physics doesn't care about your shoulder joints or his concentration, or the fact that one missed swing could crush his fingers into paste. The first strike sends vibrations up your arms like lightning made of pain. The chisel bites into the marble with a sound like breaking teeth. A small chip flies off and cuts your cheek. Blood drips onto the white stone. Your blood, their marble. The Romans would probably find the symbolism inspiring if they weren't too busy counting profits. Steady rhythm, Lucius calls out. He's measuring the cut depth with a marked rope. 2 fingers deep, no more. Any deeper, and we risk a fracture line. You swing again, and again. Each impact sends shock waves through your skeleton. Your muscles scream. Your joints protest. Your brain suggests taking a break. Your survival instincts remind your brain that breaks are for people who aren't property. Quintus's arms tremble from holding the chisel steady. Sweat pours down his face despite the morning chill. The Germanic tribes are used to cold. They're not used to precision tool work under threat of execution. Different skill sets entirely. Switch, Sextus commands after 50 strikes. Your arms feel like overcooked noodles. Quintus's hands are cramping. Lucius takes the chisel. You grab the measuring rope. The dance continues with different partners. Lucius's strikes are more controlled, educated. He learned mathematics before he learned slavery. Each blow calculates force, angle, and stone density. It's beautiful in an academic sense, like watching someone perform surgery with gardening tools. The sun climbs higher. The quarry becomes an oven. White marble reflects heat, like a mirror reflects light. The temperature rises past anything reasonable. Your tunic sticks to your back. Salt stings your eyes. Dehydration becomes a constant companion. Water break! Someone shouts from across the quarry. You look hopefully toward Marcus. He checks his sundial. Noon. You've been working for 6 hours. Your water ration is 1 cup. Not a large cup. A Roman cup. Romans believe in moderation, especially when it comes to slave hydration. The water tastes like it was collected from a puddle that horses used for questionable purposes. But it's wet. Wetness is life when you're slowly dying from heat exhaustion. You drink your ration in 3 gulps and immediately want more. Want is irrelevant. Need is irrelevant. Quotas are everything. Back to work, Marcus announces. He's sitting in the shade, drinking from a ceramic jug that probably holds more water than your entire team gets in a day. Leadership has its privileges. Slavery has its disadvantages. The system works perfectly if you're not the one being systematically worked to death. The afternoon shift begins. The sun reaches its peak. The quarry becomes hell with better architecture. You switch back to hammer duty. Your hands are already blistered. The blisters have blisters. Your palms look like raw meat wrapped around wooden handles. Quintus positions a new chisel. This one is for the vertical cuts. Different technique. Same result. More marble chips. More blood. More steps toward tonight's quota or tomorrow's grave. Tell me about your home. You gasp between hammer strikes. Talking helps. Distraction makes the pain manageable. Like humming during a dental procedure performed by someone who learned dentistry from a torture manual. Quintus's eyes soften for a moment. Forests. Green that stretched beyond the horizon. Rivers so clear you could see fish swimming from a day's walk away. Winters that killed the weak but made the strong stronger. Strike. Chip. Blood. Repeat. No marble? Lucius asks with bitter humor. No marble. No need for marble. We built with wood and stone and clay. Buildings that lasted centuries without requiring slave labor to maintain them. Revolutionary concept, really. Sextus laughs. A sound like grinding stone. In Athens, we discussed the ethics of slavery. Philosophical debates about the nature of human bondage. Very intellectual, very abstract. Turns out the ethics are different when you're the one being bonded. The irony settles over your team like dust, which there's plenty of. Every chisel strike sends marble particles into the air. You breathe stone dust. It coats your lungs like flour coats dough. Except flour makes bread. Stone dust makes breathing an adventure in creative wheezing. What about you? Quintus asks. He's addressing you. You realize you've never shared your story. Survival is too immediate for nostalgia. Gaul, you reply between hammer blows. Green hills, sheep. A village where everyone knew everyone's name, real names, not Roman names. Names that meant something in languages that existed before Latin conquered them. Strike. The chisel bites deeper. A perfect cut. Textbook technique. If there were textbooks about slowly dying while carving other people's monuments. Sheep don't require quotas. Lucius observes. Sheep don't build empires, Sextus counters. Empires require slaves. Slaves are quotas. Quotas require death. Death builds marble temples, impress gods. Gods empires, the circle of Roman life. The logic is impeccable and completely insane, like most logical systems invented by people who never have to live inside them. Mid-afternoon brings new challenges. The marble face you're cutting develops a floor line, a hairline crack that could spread if you're not careful. Spread means the entire section becomes unusable. Unusable means punishment. Punishment means less food. The equation is simple and terrifying. Stop, Sextus orders. He examines the crack with the intensity of a doctor studying a tumor. Natural flaw, we can work around it. Work around means cutting smaller blocks. Smaller blocks mean more individual pieces. More pieces mean more precision cuts. More precision cuts mean more time. More time means missing quotas. Missing quotas means joining Gaius in the pit. The mathematics of survival are complicated, but the results are binary. You live or you die. There's no partial credit for effort. You adjust your cutting pattern. Instead of 4 large blocks, you'll extract 8 smaller ones. Double the work. Same deadline, half the margin for error. Roman efficiency at its finest. The new cutting pattern requires different techniques. Shallower angles, more delicate strikes, like performing surgery with sledgehammers while blindfolded during an earthquake. Precision under impossible conditions. Your hands develop new blisters on top of the old ones. Pain becomes layered, complex. A symphony of suffering with movements in different keys. The melody is always the same, though. Strike, cut, bleed, repeat. Quintus's chisel work becomes art, desperate, beautiful in its precision. Each cut perfect because imperfection means death. Fear makes excellent teachers. Terror produces outstanding students. Almost through the first section, Lucius reports. He's measuring depth with obsessive precision. Another finger's width should do it. A finger's width. Roman measurements are often body-based. Fingers, feet, paces, human-scaled units for inhuman purposes. The Romans understand irony even if they don't understand mercy. The chisel breaks through. Clean separation. The marble block shifts slightly. Quintus jumps back. Falling stone doesn't discriminate between free men and slaves. Physics is remarkably egalitarian that way. Ropes, Sextus calls. Time to extract the finished block. This is where strength matters more than technique. Raw power applied to leverage points. Simple machines doing complex work. You and Lucius position the ropes. Quintus and Sextus grab the lifting handles they've carved into the stone. Roman engineering at its most basic. Humans as construction equipment. Very cost-effective if you don't count human costs. Lift on 3, you command. 1, 2, 3. The block rises. Slowly. Your back screams, protests in languages that don't have words for this kind of pain. Your legs shake, your arms burn. But the block moves, inch by inch. Physics and desperation working together. The marble weighs approximately 500 pounds. Your team weighs maybe 600 combined. You're lifting nearly your body weight in stone using tools that would embarrass a Bronze Age craftsman. The odds are mathematically unreasonable. But mathematics don't care about reason when you're facing execution quotas. Higher, Sextus grunts. Needs to clear the ledge. Higher means more strain. More strain means more risk. Dropped blocks kill people. Dead people can't work. Means failed quotas. Failed quotas mean collective punishment. The logic is circular and crushing. The block clears the ledge. You guide it toward the collection area where other teams have deposited their daily extractions, a growing pile of Roman grandeur paid for in blood and measured in human suffering. 1 down, Lucius pants. 7 to go. 7 more blocks, each one 500 pounds. Each one requiring the same impossible precision. each one bringing you closer to survival or closer to Gaius's fate. The mathematics are simple. The execution is deadly. You return to the marble face. The afternoon sun has turned the quarry into a kiln. Your skin burns. Your lungs struggle with the dust-filled air. Your muscles operate on fumes and desperation. Second cut, Sextus announces. This one's got a crystal inclusion. See the way the light catches differently? Crystal inclusions are beautiful. They're also structural weaknesses. Beautiful and deadly, like most things in the Roman world. The inclusion means modified technique. You can't strike directly over the crystal. The shock waves would shatter the inclusion and ruin the block. Instead, you work around it. More complex cuts. Longer process. Same deadline. Quintus positions his chisel with surgical precision. His hands steady despite exhaustion. Fear focuses attention wonderfully. Terror makes everyone an expert. You swing. The hammer connects. The chisel bites. The crystal inclusion sparkles like a trapped star. Beautiful, fragile, dangerous. Everything the Romans admire and exploit. Careful, Lucius warns. The inclusion's spreading. See how the light patterns change? He's right. The crystal formation is larger than initially visible. Hidden flaws often are. Like the Roman system itself. Beautiful on the surface. Rotten underneath. Structurally unsound, but held together by force and fear. You adjust your striking angle. Shallower approach. Less force per blow, but more blows total. Patience when you have no time. Precision when you're exhausted. Perfection when you're dying. Roman expectations in a nutshell. The work continues, strike after strike. Each one perfectly placed. Each one a small victory against impossible odds. Each one bringing you closer to survival or destruction. The margins are so thin they're practically non-existent. There, Quintus breathes. The second cut is complete. Clean separation around the crystal inclusion. The inclusion remains intact. Valuable. Roman collectors pay premium prices for marble with natural crystal formations. Your suffering becomes their luxury. Block 2 rises from the quarry floor. Another 500 pounds of extracted agony. Your back protests in new and creative ways. Pain becomes inventive when pushed to extremes. The pile of completed blocks grows. 2 down, 6 to go. Progress measured in tons of marble and ounces of blood. The exchange rate is terrible, but non-negotiable. Late afternoon brings new complications. The marble face you're working develops what Sextus calls grain deviation. The natural stone patterns shift unexpectedly. Like trying to read a book where someone keeps changing the language mid-sentence. We'll need to adjust our cutting pattern again, Sextus announces. His voice carries resignation mixed with professional pride. Even under impossible conditions, craftsmanship matters. Excellence becomes its own form of resistance. Grain deviation means diagonal cuts instead of straight ones. Diagonal cuts are harder. They require different angles, different techniques, different timing. Everything becomes more complex when you're already operating at the limits of human capability. You position your hammer against Quintus's newly angled chisel. The geometry feels wrong, uncomfortable. Like trying to write with your non-dominant hand while someone threatens to kill you for spelling mistakes. The first diagonal strike sends vibrations in unexpected directions, up your arm, down through your shoulder, into your spine. Pain finds new pathways when you change techniques. Rhythm's different, Lucius observes. He's measuring the cut angles with mathematical precision. Shorter strokes, more frequent, like rapid drumming instead of slow thunder. The rhythm adjustment is harder than expected. Your body has memorized the standard pattern. Muscle memory fights against conscious control, like trying to change your heartbeat through willpower alone. Quintus struggles with the new angles too. His tribal training emphasized direct approaches. Diagonal thinking is foreign, literally and figuratively. Cultural differences become survival challenges when techniques must be perfect. But adaptation happens. Humans are remarkably adaptable, especially when the alternative is death. Evolution in real time. survival of the most quickly adjusting. The diagonal cuts progress. Slower than standard technique, but faster than failure. The marble yields reluctantly, like it knows it's being stolen from the earth to decorate the monuments of its thieves. Third block's shaping up, Sextus reports. His voice carries cautious optimism. Optimism is dangerous in your situation. It makes you careless. Carelessness kills. But hopelessness kills faster. The crystal inclusion in this block is more complex. Multiple formations creating internal stress patterns. Beautiful chaos frozen in stone. Like looking at the Roman Empire's organizational chart rendered in mineral form. You work around the crystal formations with increased care. Each strike must be perfect. No room for error. No second chances. Get it right, or join the growing pile of slave bones that fertilize the quarry floor. Almost through, Quintus reports. Sweat pours down his face like rain on marble. Salt stings his eyes. Dehydration makes his hands shake. But the chisel remains steady. Desperation provides excellent muscle control. The third block separates cleanly. Another perfect cut despite impossible conditions. Another 500 pounds of Roman ambition extracted through human suffering. Another step toward tonight's survival. 3 down, 5 to go. The mathematics are encouraging. The physical reality is devastating. Your body operates on fumes and terror. Fumes run out. Terror doesn't. Water break! The call echoes across the quarry. You look hopefully toward Marcus. He checks his sundial again. Late afternoon. Another cup of questionable water awaits. The water tastes worse than before. Heat makes everything rancid faster, including hope. But wetness is life. You drink and immediately want more. Want and need become identical when you're slowly dying from dehydration. Back to work, Marcus announces. He's moved to a different shade spot. Even his shade has better working conditions than your direct labor. Management always finds ways to stay comfortable while labor suffers. Block 4 presents new challenges. The marble face shows signs of deep, natural fracturing. Hairline cracks that could spread without warning, like working with stone that has its own opinion about structural integrity. Pressure fractures, Sextus diagnoses. His voice carries professional concern mixed with personal terror. Structural flaws in marble are unpredictable. Like everything else in your life lately, pressure fractures mean extreme care. Any shock could propagate the cracks, turn solid marble into expensive gravel, turn your quota into your death sentence. The margins for error disappear entirely. You adjust your hammer technique again. Gentler strikes, more frequent, like tapping instead of hitting, like suggesting instead of demanding. Polite violence against stone that might explode without warning. Quintus's chisel work becomes surgical, each placement calculated to avoid stress points, each angle chosen to minimize fracture propagation. Fear makes excellent engineers. Terror produces outstanding precision. The work slows dramatically. Safety versus speed, survival versus quotas. Impossible choices made necessary by Roman efficiency. You choose survival and hope the gods of marble quotas are feeling merciful. They're not. Move faster, Marcus shouts from his shade. The sun's getting low. You're behind schedule. Less food, less strength. Less strength means slower work. It means missing quotas. It means death. The logic is circular and crushing. You increase your striking tempo, gentle but faster, like rapid surgery performed with construction tools. Precision under pressure, excellence under threat of execution. The pressure fractures spread slightly, hairline cracks becoming visible cracks, becoming structural problems becoming death sentences. Stop, Sextus orders. Let me examine this. Stopping means lost time. Lost time means missed quotas. Missed quotas mean joining Gaius. The equation is simple and terrifying. Sextus studies the fracture patterns with the intensity of a doctor examining a patient who might be carrying plague. His face shows concern mixed with professional curiosity. Even under threat of death, craftsmanship matters. We can work with this, he decides. Different approach, more cuts, smaller blocks, but it's doable. More cuts mean more work. Smaller blocks mean more precision. Doable means possible if everything goes perfectly. Everything never goes perfectly when you're a slave. But the alternative is giving up. Giving up means certain death. Possible death is better than certain death. The mathematics of desperation are remarkably simple. You adjust the cutting pattern again. Instead of one large block, you'll extract 4 smaller ones. Quadruple the precision work. Same deadline. Quarter the margin for error. The new pattern requires different teamwork, more coordination, more communication, more opportunities for mistakes. Everything becomes more complex when you're already operating beyond human limits. But humans adapt, especially when the alternative is death. You develop new rhythms, new techniques, new ways of achieving impossible precision under impossible conditions. The smaller cuts progress, slowly, carefully, like performing surgery on marble that might decide to commit suicide at any moment. Pressure fractures are unpredictable that way. First small blocks ready, Lucius reports. He's measuring with obsessive precision. Every dimension must be perfect. Imperfection means the block is unusable. Unusable, wasted work means death. The first small block lifts easily, only 125 pounds instead of 500. Your back celebrates the reduced weight. Your schedule weeps at the increased complexity. 3 more small ones, Sextus announces. Same technique, same precision, same terror. He's developing a sense of humor about your situation. Gallows humor. Literally. People facing execution often become comedians. Laughter is the last defense against despair. The second small block comes out clean. Perfect dimensions. Flawless surface. Museum-quality craftsmanship, produced by people who will never see museums. Irony doesn't care about access to education. Block 3 develops complications. The pressure fracture spreads during extraction. Not catastrophically, just enough to make the block second grade instead of prime. Second grade marble has different quota requirements, more confusion, more mathematics, more opportunities for fatal errors. Second grade block, Sextus announces. Adjust the count. Lucius pulls out his mental mathematics. Second grade blocks count differently toward quotas. Complex calculations involving weight ratios and quality multipliers. Roman bureaucracy makes everything complicated. Even slavery has paperwork. We're still on track, Lucius reports. Barely. Barely survival is still possible. Barely also means failure is equally possible. Balanced on the edge of life and death. The Roman system provides excellent motivation through terror. The fourth small block extracts cleanly. Another perfect cut. Another triumph of human skill over impossible conditions. Another step toward tonight's survival. 4 blocks down, 4 to go. The mathematics are encouraging. Your body disagrees. Muscles operate on willpower and desperation. Both are finite resources. Getting dark, Quintus observes. The sun is sinking toward the horizon. Shadows grow longer. The quarry begins to cool. Night approaches with its own challenges. Roman quarries don't provide artificial lighting. Work stops at sunset. Whatever quotas aren't met by dark remain unmet. Unmet quotas mean punishment. Punishment, death. Simple mathematics with deadly results. You have maybe 2 hours of working light left. 4 blocks to extract. 2 hours. 4 blocks. 30 minutes per block. Doable if nothing goes wrong. Everything goes wrong when you're a slave. 5th block, Sextus announces. This section looks clean. No fractures, no inclusions, straightforward extraction. Straightforward is relative when you're exhausted beyond human limits. Your hands shake from fatigue. Your vision blurs from dehydration. Your muscles operate on fumes and terror. But straightforward means faster work. Faster work means better chances of meeting quotas. Better chances mean possible survival. is better than certain death. You position your hammer against Quintus's chisel. The familiar rhythm returns. Strike, cut, chip, blood, repeat. Muscle memory takes over when conscious thought becomes too difficult. The fifth block progresses quickly. Clean marble, good grain structure, no surprises, like working with cooperative stone instead of malicious rock. The difference is remarkable. Halfway through, Lucius reports. His voice carries cautious optimism. Optimism is dangerous but necessary. Complete despair kills faster than Roman overseers. The cuts deepen. The block takes shape. 500 pounds of marble slowly separating from the mountainside. Another piece of Roman grandeur carved through human suffering. Clean separation, Quintus announces. The fifth block lifts free. Perfect dimensions. Flawless surface. Museum-quality craftsmanship that will outlast the people who created it. 5 down, 3 to go. The mathematics improve. Your body deteriorates. Success becomes more likely as your ability to achieve it diminishes. Roman efficiency in action. The sixth block presents new challenges. The marble face shows mineral staining, iron deposits that create beautiful patterns but structural weaknesses, beauty and danger intertwined. Like the Roman system itself. Mineral staining means unpredictable cutting. Iron deposits are harder than marble. They dull chisels. They deflect hammer blows. They turn precision work into guesswork. Work around the iron, Sextus advises. Cut channels to isolate the deposits. More work, but safer results. More work, less time, same quotas. The equation never improves. It just finds new ways to become impossible. You cut isolation channels around the iron deposits. Delicate work requiring surgical precision. Like performing operations on stone that fights back against your instruments. The isolation channels progress slowly. Each cut must be perfect. Any mistake could propagate into the main block. Turn prime marble into expensive gravel. Turn survival into death sentence. Almost isolated, Quintus reports. Sweat pours down his face despite the cooling air. Exhaustion makes everything harder. Even easy things become difficult when you're operating beyond human limits. The main cuts begin. Around the isolated iron deposits, through clean marble sections, avoiding structural weaknesses while maintaining geometric precision. Engineering and artistry combined under threat of execution. Sixth blocks shaping up, Lucius observes. He measures constantly, obsessively. Precision is survival. Survival is everything. The block separates cleanly. The iron deposits remain isolated. No structural damage. No quality reduction. Another perfect extraction under impossible conditions. 6 down, 2 to go. The mathematics are almost encouraging. Your body is almost finished. The race between quota completion and physical collapse enters its final phase. Darkness approaches faster now. The sun sinks visibly toward the horizon. Shadows grow longer. Time becomes a luxury you can't afford. Seventh block, Sextus announces. Standard extraction. No complications visible. No complications is the best news you've heard all day. Standard extraction means familiar techniques. Familiar techniques mean muscle memory can take over. Muscle memory works when conscious thought becomes too difficult. You position your hammer for what might be the 1000th time today. Your hands move automatically. Strike, position, strike, chip, strike, cut. The rhythm of survival. Quintus's chisel work is automatic too. Perfect placement through exhaustion. Fear provides excellent muscle control even when muscles should have quit hours ago. The seventh block progresses quickly. Clean cuts, good separation, no surprises. Like the marble wants to cooperate. Stone can be sympathetic when humans are suffering enough. Almost through, Lucius reports. The seventh block is nearly free. Another 500 pounds of Roman ambition ready for extraction. The block separates with a sound like breaking bones. Clean separation. Perfect dimensions. Another triumph of human skill over impossible odds. 7 down. 1 to go. The mathematics are finally encouraging. Your body is finally finished. One more block, 30 minutes of daylight. Possible survival within reach. Final block, Sextus announces. His voice carries exhaustion mixed with determination. The end is visible. The end might be achievable. The end might not mean death. The 8th block section looks perfect. Clean marble, good grain, no fractures, no inclusions, no iron deposits. Like the mountain is giving you a gift, a chance at survival. You position your hammer for the final series of cuts. Your hands shake from exhaustion. Your vision blurs from dehydration, but the hammer finds its target. Muscle memory when consciousness fails. Quintus's chisel placement is automatic. Perfect precision through complete exhaustion. Fear and desperation make excellent teachers. Terror produces outstanding students. The final cuts progress, each one bringing you closer to survival, each one requiring perfect technique despite impossible conditions. Excellence under pressure, craftsmanship under threat of death. Halfway through the final block, Lucius reports. His voice shakes from exhaustion and hope. Hope is dangerous but necessary. Despair kills faster than Roman overseers. The sun touches the horizon. Maybe 20 minutes of working light remaining. The final block is half extracted. Mathematics become critical. Time versus completion. Survival versus death. You increase your striking tempo. Faster but still precise, like rapid surgery performed with construction tools. Speed without sacrificing accuracy. Excellence without margin for error. The cuts deepen. The block takes shape. The final piece of today's quota slowly separating from the mountainside. Roman grandeur carved through human suffering. Art created through agony. Almost there? Quintus gasps. His arms tremble from holding the chisel steady. Germanic strength pushed beyond tribal limits. Endurance becomes a matter of willpower when muscle fails. The final cuts are complete. Clean separation. Perfect dimensions. The 8th block lifts free of the marble face. 500 pounds of survival. The last piece of today's impossible puzzle. Quota complete, Sextus announces with the tone of a man who has just discovered he might live another day. His voice carries exhaustion, relief, and the kind of disbelief that comes from achieving the impossible through sheer terror-motivated precision. The sun has nearly disappeared behind the quarry walls. Shadows stretch across the marble like dark fingers reaching for your soul. You've extracted 4,000 pounds of prime marble and completed your impossible quota. You're still alive. Mathematics and miracles sometimes align. Marcus approaches with his wax tablet. He counts the blocks with the enthusiasm of a tax collector discovering hidden wealth. His lips move as he calculates tonnage. His face shows surprise. Slaves aren't supposed to meet quotas. They're supposed to fail so they can be punished. Failure justifies the system. Success complicates it. 8 blocks, he announces. Prime grade. Acceptable dimensions. He sounds disappointed, like he was looking forward to creative punishment techniques. Management always seems frustrated when labor succeeds despite impossible conditions. You collapse against the quarry wall. Your legs give out like broken scaffolding. Your back screams in languages that don't have words for this kind of abuse. Your hands are hamburger meat wrapped around bone. But you're alive. Alive counts as victory when the alternative is joining Gaius in the pit. Quintus sits heavily on a marble chip pile. His Germanic endurance finally reached its limits. He stares at his hands with the expression of someone discovering his body belongs to a stranger. Pain becomes alien when pushed beyond human thresholds. "We did it," Lucius whispers. His mathematical mind struggles to process the improbability of success. The odds were mathematically unreasonable. Success should have been impossible. Yet here you are, still breathing, still slave property, but still breathing. Sextus leans against his chisel like it's a walking stick. His educated mind processes the philosophical implications of surviving the unsurvivable. We achieved the impossible through the application of terror-motivated excellence. Very Roman, very effective, very soul-destroying. The evening meal consists of bread that could double as construction material and a thin gruel that might have seen vegetables from a great distance once. But it's food. Food is life when you're slowly starving. Your body accepts anything that promises calories. You eat in silence. Conversation requires energy. Energy is needed for tomorrow's impossible quotas. Silence becomes survival strategy when words are luxury you can't afford. The slave quarters fill with men returning from their various forms of organized suffering. Quarry workers, transport teams, tool maintenance crews, stone cutters, marble polishers. An entire economy built on human misery. Very efficient, very Roman. A new slave joins your section tonight. Young, maybe 16 years old. His Roman name is Decimus. His real name was probably something beautiful in a language the Romans considered primitive. Most languages are primitive to people who measure civilization in tons of extracted marble. First day tomorrow, he tells you with the optimism of someone who doesn't understand his situation yet. They say marble quarrying builds character. You exchange glances with your team. Character. Right. Marble quarrying builds character the way crucifixion builds patience. Technically accurate, but missing the essential point about survival odds. Character building. Sextus repeats with his dry Greek humor. Yes, the Romans are excellent character builders. They build character the way they build roads, through the systematic application of human suffering to achieve engineering objectives. Decimus doesn't understand yet. Understanding comes with experience. Experience with survival. Survival is statistically unlikely. The mathematics are brutal but accurate. Get some sleep, Lucius advises with genuine kindness. Kindness is rare when everyone is slowly dying. But humans remain human even under impossible conditions. Solidarity becomes survival strategy when individual effort isn't enough. You lie down on your stone slab. Your body protests every position. Pain has become a constant companion. Like having a roommate who never pays rent but always complains about living conditions. Sleep comes fitfully. Dreams mix with nightmares. You dream of green hills and sheep. You nightmare about falling marble blocks and quota calculations. Reality and fantasy blend when exhaustion reaches extreme levels. You wake before dawn, not voluntarily. Your body has learned to anticipate the overseer's whip. Survival programming overrides natural sleep cycles. Evolution in real time. Adaptation through terror. Gaius's replacement has arrived. Another young man with optimistic eyes and insufficient understanding of Roman efficiency. His name is Titus. His real name was probably poetry in a language that valued beauty over marble extraction quotas. 39 slaves today, Marcus announces with satisfaction. Full crew complement means maximum productivity. Maximum productivity means maximum quotas. Maximum quotas mean maximum suffering. The mathematics are consistent. Today's assignment. A new marble face. Deeper in the quarry. Harder to reach. More difficult to extract. Yesterday's success means today's increased expectations. Roman management philosophy in action. The new marble face stretches 40 feet high and 50 feet wide, enough stone to build a small temple or kill a large number of slaves. Roman ambitions often amount to the same thing. Premium marble. Sextus observes with professional appreciation mixed with personal dread. Statuary grade. Museum quality. The kind that makes sculptors weep with joy and slaves weep with terror. Statuary grade marble means higher quotas. Higher quotas mean longer hours, mean increased mortality rates. Excellence becomes a death sentence when you're property. But premium marble also means cleaner cutting, fewer flaws, more predictable grain patterns. Professional challenges become survival advantages when technique matters more than strength. Your team receives upgraded tools, sharper chisels, better hammers, improved measuring equipment, quality tools for quality work for inhuman quotas. The logic is impeccable and completely insane. New quota, Marcus announces with barely concealed glee. 12 talents of statuary grade, 15 talents of structural grade, complete extraction, perfect finish, 12 talents of statuary grade marble, 900 pounds of museum quality stone carved with hand tools by people who will never see museums, plus 1,125 pounds of structural material, 2,025 pounds total. More than yesterday, higher standards, same deadline. Impossible, Lucius calculates quickly. Statuary grade requires double precision, means half the speed. Half the speed means missed quotas. Missed quotas means death. Romans don't do impossible, Quintus observes with Germanic practicality. They do inevitable. Inevitable quotas, inevitable suffering, inevitable death. But they achieve the impossible through the systematic application of terror to human motivation. The work begins before full sunrise. Early start to compensate for increased difficulty. Extended hours to achieve impossible quotas. Roman efficiency pushed to its logical extreme. The first statuary grade cut requires surgical precision. No flaws allowed. No grain deviation acceptable. No margin for error. Perfection or death. Binary outcomes for analog humans. You position your upgraded hammer against Quintus's premium chisel. The tools feel different, sharper, more responsive, like surgical instruments compared to yesterday's construction equipment. The first strike produces a perfect chip, clean separation, precise angle, museum-quality craftsmanship created under threat of execution. Fear makes excellent teachers. Terror produces outstanding students. Rhythm's different, Lucius notes. He's measuring with obsessive precision. Statuary grade responds to lighter touch, more finesse, less force. Like convincing marble instead of demanding compliance, the technique adjustment challenges your muscle memory. Yesterday's patterns fight against today's requirements. Adaptation under pressure, evolution through terror, learning while dying. Quintus's chisel work becomes artistic. Each placement calculated for optimal results. Each angle chosen for maximum efficiency. Germanic strength refined by Roman precision requirements. Cultural adaptation through survival necessity. The first statuary block takes shape slowly, like watching sculpture in reverse. Instead of adding material to create art, you're removing material to create commerce. Art and economics intertwined through human suffering. Beautiful work, Sextus comments with professional pride mixed with personal anguish. Museum quality, the kind of craftsmanship that outlasts empires, created by people who won't outlast the weak. The irony settles over your team like quarry dust, creating permanent beauty through temporary suffering, building eternal monuments from mortal agony. Roman philosophy and practical application. Mid-morning brings complications. The marble face develops what Sextus calls crystal lattice deviation. The internal structure shifts unexpectedly, like working with stone that has its own opinions about physics. Lattice deviation means adjusted cutting angles. Sextus explains with the tone of a professor teaching a course in creative ways to die. Different approach. More complex geometry. Same impossible deadline. Complex geometry when you're exhausted. Adjusted angles when your hands shake from malnutrition. New techniques when old techniques barely work. Everything becomes harder when you're already operating beyond human limits. But humans adapt, especially when the alternative is death. You learn new angles, new rhythms, new ways to achieve impossible precision under impossible conditions. The adjusted cutting pattern progresses, slower than standard technique but faster than failure. The marble yields reluctantly to modified approaches, like stone that's being convinced rather than forced. First statuary block ready for extraction, Lucius reports. Perfect dimensions, flawless surface, museum-quality craftsmanship that will outlast the civilization that created it through slave labor. The block weighs 600 pounds, heavier than yesterday's standard grade. Dense marble requires more strength to move. More strength when you have less. Roman efficiency at its finest. The extraction requires modified lifting techniques, different rope positions, adjusted leverage points, engineering solutions to physics problems, problems under threat of execution. Lift on 3, you command. 1, 2, 3. The statuary block rises, slowly, like lifting condensed suffering made solid. Your back protests in new and creative ways. Pain becomes inventive when pushed to extremes. But the block moves, physics and desperation working together. Human determination applied to marble resistance, victory measured in inches of vertical progress. The block clears the extraction point. Another piece of Roman grandeur carved through human agony. Another step towards survival or death. The mathematics remain uncertain. 1 statuary down, Sextus announces. 11 to go. Plus 15 structural. Plus maintaining perfect quality standards. Plus not dying from exhaustion. The mathematics are encouraging and terrifying simultaneously. Progress toward quotas. Progress toward physical collapse. Racing against time and mortality. Both finish lines approaching at unknown speeds. The second statuary block presents new challenges. Natural mineral veining creates beautiful patterns but structural complexities, beauty and difficulty intertwined. Like everything in Roman society, mineral veining means modified cutting techniques, working around natural patterns instead of imposing geometric precision, cooperation with stone instead of domination over it. Different philosophy, same impossible quotas. Follow the vein patterns, Sextus instructs. Work with the stone instead of against it. Let the marble tell us where it wants to separate. Listening to marble, philosophical conversations with stone. Romans would find the concept ridiculous if they weren't too busy counting profits from slave-extracted luxury materials. The veining patterns dictate cutting angles, natural geometry instead of imposed precision, organic shapes emerging from inorganic processes, beauty created through understanding rather than force. Your hammerwork adapts to marble requirements, gentler strikes following natural grain, persuasion instead of violence, cooperation instead of conquest, revolutionary concepts in Roman context. The second statuary block emerges slowly, beautiful patterns preserved through careful extraction, natural art enhanced by human craftsmanship, collaboration between slave and stone. Magnificent, Sextus breathes. Professional appreciation overriding personal circumstances. Beauty transcends suffering when craftsmanship reaches artistic levels. 2 statuary blocks complete, 10 remaining. The mathematics improve slowly. Your body deteriorates quickly. The race between quota completion and physical collapse continues. Noon brings the customary water break. 1 cup of questionable liquid. Barely enough to replace what you lose through sweat. Dehydration management. Survival through careful resource allocation. The afternoon shift begins with elevated temperatures. The quarry becomes an oven. White marble reflects heat like mirrors focus sunlight. Working conditions that would kill healthy people. You're not healthy people. But work continues. Roman quotas don't adjust for weather, or human limitations, or physical laws. Romans believe willpower conquers everything, including basic biology. Faith-based management philosophy. The third statuary block develops complications, deep natural fracturing that could spread unpredictably, working with structurally compromised stone under structural compromise of your own body. Pressure points. Sextus diagnoses. The marble is stressed, like us. Internal tensions looking for release. Explosive potential. Handle with extreme care. When you're exhausted beyond care. Surgical precision when your hands shake from malnutrition. Perfect technique when perfection should be impossible. Roman expectations summarized. You work around the pressure points. Delicate cuts, avoiding stress concentrations. Like performing surgery on stone that might explode. Precision under pressure. Excellence under threat of death. The fracture patterns spread slightly. Hairline cracks becoming visible. Visibles becoming structural concerns. Becoming survival challenges. Stop, Sextus orders. Let me recalculate the cutting pattern. Stopping means lost time. Lost time means missed quotas. Missed quotas mean death. But continuing with flawed technique means ruined marble, means death faster. Sextus studies the fracture patterns with mathematical intensity. His educated mind processes stress mechanics and failure probabilities, academic knowledge applied to survival problems. Modified approach, he decides. Smaller cuts, multiple extractions. Preserve the good marble. Isolate the flawed sections. More work but salvageable results. More work. Same deadline. Reduced margins for error. The equation never improves. It just finds new ways to become impossible. But salvageable results beat catastrophic failure. Partial success, disaster. Mathematics of survival applied to quarry management. The modified cutting pattern begins. Smaller blocks. More precise cuts. Increased complexity when you're already operating beyond human capacity. Excellence through exhaustion. First small section ready, Lucius reports. Perfect dimensions despite challenging conditions. Precision achieved through terror-motivated attention to detail. The small section extracts cleanly. Beautiful marble preserved through careful technique. Craftsmanship triumphing over impossible circumstances. Human skill applied to inhuman quotas. 3 more small sections, Sextus announces. Same technique, same precision, same probability of survival through perfect execution. When execution is the alternative to perfection, binary outcomes for analog situations, Roman logic applied to human limitations. The remaining small sections progress steadily, each one requiring surgical precision, each one threatening catastrophic failure, each one somehow succeeding despite mathematical improbability. 3 statuary blocks complete, 9 remaining. Progress measured against impossibility. Success achieved through systematic application of terror to human motivation. The 4th statuary block appears straightforward. Clean marble, good grain structure, no visible flaws. Like the mountain offering a gift. Compensation for previous difficulties. Straightforward is relative when you're exhausted beyond straightforward thinking, but relative improvement beats absolute deterioration. Progress exists on sliding scales when survival depends on incremental gains. The cutting proceeds efficiently. Standard techniques applied to premium materials, muscle memory taking over when conscious thought becomes too difficult, automation through repetition. Good separation, Quintus reports. His Germanic endurance showing signs of systematic breakdown but still functional. Durability through cultural conditioning. Tribal strength applied to Roman requirements. The 4th block extracts cleanly. Another piece of statuary perfection carved through human suffering. Another step toward quota completion or physical collapse. The race continues. 4 statuary blocks down, 8 to go, plus 15 structural blocks, plus maintaining perfection standards, plus not dying. Multiple objectives with single deadline. Mid-afternoon brings structural block requirements, different techniques, lower precision standards but higher volume expectations, quantity versus quality, both measured against human endurance limits. Structural blocks are easier to cut but heavier to move. Different challenges requiring different adaptations, strength versus precision, both necessary, both pushing human limits. Switch to structural extraction, Sextus announces. Different mindset, volume over perfection, speed over surgical precision, still excellent, just differently excellent, when any excellence should be impossible. Gradations of achievement under threat of execution. Roman management philosophy refined through practical application. The first structural block takes shape quickly. Standard cutting techniques, familiar rhythms, muscle memory engaging when conscious direction becomes too exhausting. Much faster, Lucius observes with relief. Still precise, but not surgical. We might actually achieve the impossible. Might achieve impossible. Conditional optimism based on improved mathematics. Hope emerging from desperation. Psychological survival mechanisms engaging automatically. The structural blocks progress steadily. Each one 500 pounds of Roman ambition. each one carved through human suffering, each one bringing survival closer to mathematical possibility. 5 structural blocks extracted by late afternoon, 10 structural remaining, 8 statuary remaining, mathematics improving but still challenging, survival becoming statistically possible. But physical deterioration accelerates, muscles operating on fumes and terror, joints grinding bone against bone, bodies pushed beyond design specifications, engineering failure delayed through willpower alone. Getting close, Quintus observes. His voice carries exhaustion mixed with cautious optimism, Germanic practicality applied to Roman impossibility, cultural adaptation through survival necessity. Close is relative when you're dying, but relative progress beats absolute failure. Motion toward survival preferable to motion toward death. Directional mathematics applied to life or death situations. Evening approaches faster than completion. The sun sinks visibly toward the horizon. Time becomes critical resource, more precious than water, more necessary than food, more vital than hope. Final push, Sextus announces. Everything we have left. Perfect execution or perfect failure. No middle ground. No middle ground in binary survival situations. Success or death. Achievement or execution. Roman outcomes applied to human efforts. Absolute results from relative capabilities. The remaining blocks extract in a blur of desperate precision. Terror-motivated excellence applied to impossible quotas. Human skill pushed beyond human limits through inhuman motivation. Each block perfect despite impossible conditions. Each extraction achieved through systematic application of fear to craftsmanship requirements. Each success defying mathematical probability. Final block, Lucius announces as shadows stretch across the quarry floor. The sun touches the horizon. Maybe 15 minutes of working light remaining. Final mathematics. Ultimate deadline. The last block is statuary grade. Museum quality required with construction timeframe. Perfection under pressure. Excellence under threat of execution. Roman expectations summarized in single extraction. Your hammer finds its target automatically. Muscle memory when conscious thought fails. Repetition creating precision when precision should be impossible. Training overriding exhaustion. Quintus's chisel placement is surgical despite complete physical breakdown. Germanic endurance applied to Roman precision requirements. Cultural strength adapted to imperial demands. The final cuts progress with desperate efficiency. Each strike perfect because perfection is survival. Each placement precise because precision is life. Excellence through terror. Quality through fear. Complete, Sextus announces as the sun disappears behind quarry walls. Final extraction achieved. Impossible quotas met. Survival mathematics resolved in favor of continued existence. 27 blocks total. Perfect quality. Museum craftsmanship. Statuary precision. All extracted by hand tools operated by people who will never see the monuments their suffering creates. You collapse against the marble face. Your body gives up pretending to function normally. Pain becomes abstract when pushed beyond sensation thresholds. Exhaustion transcends physical into metaphysical. But you're alive. Alive counts as victory when the alternative is joining the growing pile of slave bones that fertilize the quarry floor. Survival measured against mathematical impossibility. Life achieved through death-defying precision. Marcus approaches with his counting tablet. He tallies blocks with the expression of someone discovering slaves aren't supposed to succeed this consistently. Success complicates the system. Efficiency undermines punishment justifications. 27 blocks, he announces with poorly concealed disappointment. Acceptable quality. Adequate dimensions. He sounds like someone whose entertainment has been cancelled due to competent performance. The evening meal tastes like cardboard, soaked in hope. But it's food. Food is life when you're slowly starving to maintain Roman luxury standards. Your body accepts anything promising calories. Decimus approaches your team with wide eyes. His first day experience has adjusted his understanding of character building. education through practical application. Learning about Roman efficiency through personal participation. Is it always like this? He asks, with the voice of someone whose optimism has been surgically removed without anesthesia. This was a good day, Sextus replies with his dry intellectual humor. No one died, no blocks shattered, no quotas missed. Roman success measured by absence of catastrophe. Good day, relative measurement against absolute horror. Success defined by survival rather than achievement. Roman mathematics applied to human experience. You return to the slave quarters carrying new understanding. Understanding that excellence can be achieved under impossible conditions, that human skill transcends human limitations when properly motivated by terror. That craftsmanship persists, even when craftsmen don't. Tomorrow brings new quotas, new impossibilities, new tests of human capability pushed beyond human limits. New opportunities to achieve the unachievable through systematic application of fear to motivation. But tonight you're alive. Tonight counts as victory. Tonight offers rest before tomorrow's fresh impossibilities. Sleep becomes luxury when every waking moment is survival challenge. You lie on your stone slab reflecting on the day's achievements. Perfect blocks carved from imperfect conditions. Museum quality extracted through systematic suffering. Roman grandeur built from human agony. The irony is complete. You create permanent beauty through temporary existence. Build eternal monuments from mortal labor. Craft lasting art through disposable artists. Roman philosophy implemented through practical slavery. But humans adapt, even under impossible conditions, especially under impossible conditions. Adaptation becomes survival mechanism when alternatives involve joining previous adapters in unmarked graves. Your hands have memorized chisel placement. Your muscles have learned hammer rhythms. Your mind has calculated survival mathematics, professional development through terror-based education, skills acquired under threat of execution. Tomorrow the process repeats. New marble faces, new impossible quotas, new tests of human capability pushed beyond reasonable limits, new opportunities to prove that excellence transcends circumstances when circumstances include death as alternative to excellence. But tonight offers respite, brief pause between impossible quotas, temporary survival in ongoing mortality challenge, rest period in systematic endurance examination. Sleep comes fitfully. Dreams blend with nightmares. Visions of green hills and free lives mixing with memories of marble dust and whip sounds. Subconscious processing days' traumas while preparing for tomorrow's fresh impossibilities. You wake before dawn, not from choice, from conditioning, survival programming, overriding natural rhythms, adaptation through repetition, evolution through systematic application of terror to behavioral modification. Another day begins, another test of human limits, another opportunity to achieve impossible through systematic application of fear-based motivation to craftsmanship requirements. The cycle continues. Roman efficiency applied to human resources, marble extracted through systematic suffering, beauty created through organized agony, art emerging from systematized brutality. But humans persist, even under Roman management. Especially under Roman management, persistence becomes survival strategy when alternatives involve permanent discontinuation of persistence opportunities. Months pass, seasons change, quotas remain impossible, achievement remains mandatory, survival remains uncertain, mathematics remain brutal but occasionally favorable. Your team develops efficiency through shared suffering, coordination through common desperation, excellence through collective application of terror-motivated precision to impossible requirements. Sextus shares philosophical observations about systematic dehumanization implemented through bureaucratic efficiency. Lucius calculates probability mathematics for various survival scenarios. Quintus offers Germanic perspectives on Roman organizational methodology. The conversations help. Distraction makes suffering manageable. Intellectual engagement provides psychological survival mechanisms. Human connection transcends circumstances designed to eliminate humanity. New slaves arrive regularly. Young men with optimistic misconceptions about character-building opportunities. Fresh labor replacing exhausted inventory. Roman human resource management through systematic replacement protocols. You teach survival techniques to newcomers. Hammer rhythms, chisel placement, quota mathematics. Professional development through fear-based education. Skills transfer under threat of execution. Some learn quickly. Terror provides excellent motivation for rapid skill acquisition. Others struggle with precision requirements. Precision failure results in quota failure, results in permanent educational discontinuation. The mathematical progression is consistent. New arrivals, skill development or elimination, survival or replacement. Roman efficiency applied to human resources through systematic quality control protocols. But craftsmanship persists. Excellence emerges even under impossible conditions. Beauty appears despite systematic efforts to eliminate everything except utilitarian functionality. Human creativity transcends circumstances designed to eliminate creativity. The marble blocks you extract become columns supporting temple roofs, foundation stones for monuments celebrating Roman achievements, decorative elements adorning structures dedicated to gods who apparently don't answer prayers about working conditions. Your suffering becomes their grandeur. Your agony becomes their beauty. Your mortality becomes their permanence. Roman transformation of human resources into architectural achievements. But the irony provides comfort. Knowing your work outlasts your workers. Understanding your craftsmanship transcends your circumstances. Recognizing your excellence exceeds your existence expectations. Years pass, if you survive them. Survival rates suggest statistical improbability but mathematical possibility. Some slaves achieve longevity through exceptional skill combined with extraordinary luck. You might become statistical anomaly. The quarry changes. New faces, new techniques, new impossibilities. But fundamental mathematics remain constant. Impossible quotas, mandatory achievement, survival through systematic application of terror to motivation. Your hands become tools, your muscles become machinery, your mind becomes calculation engine optimized for survival mathematics, under threat of elimination, professional development through systematic dehumanization. But humanity persists, even under Roman management designed to eliminate humanity, especially under conditions that should eliminate humanity. Human nature transcends systematic efforts to eliminate human nature. Conversations with teammates, shared meals consisting of survival rations, brief rest periods between impossible quotas, small moments of human connection in systematically inhuman circumstances. The moments matter, probably more than monuments, certainly more than Roman architectural achievements built through systematic human suffering. Connection transcends circumstances. Humanity survives systematic dehumanization. Eventually, if survival mathematics prove favorable, age begins affecting precision, muscle deterioration, joint problems, vision challenges, natural biological limitations conflicting with Roman efficiency requirements. When precision fails, productivity fails. When productivity fails, quotas fail. When quotas fail, educational opportunities end. Roman human resource management through systematic quality control elimination. But until then, excellence continues. Precision persists. Achievement occurs despite mathematical improbability. Human capability transcends human limitations when properly motivated through systematic terror application. The marble continues emerging from mountainsides, block by block, quota by quota, day by day. Each extraction representing triumph of human skill over impossible circumstances. Each achievement defying mathematical probability. Roman grandeur built from systematic human suffering. Beauty emerging from organized agony. Permanence created through temporary existence. Art extracted through systematized brutality. But the art transcends its origins. Beauty survives its creators. Excellence outlasts its achievers. Human craftsmanship transcends human circumstances, even when circumstances systematically eliminate humans. This is what you learn quarrying marble as Roman slave. That excellence emerges even under impossible conditions. That precision persists despite systematic efforts to eliminate precision achievers. That craftsmanship continues even when craftsmen don't. The lesson applies beyond quarries, beyond slavery, beyond Roman management philosophy. Human capability transcends circumstances designed to eliminate capability. Excellence persists despite systematic efforts to eliminate excellence achievers. Modern convenience emerges from historical suffering, contemporary comfort built on ancestral agony, present ease purchased through past endurance. The mathematics of human progress through systematic application of human resources to impossible requirements. Understanding this provides perspective, appreciation for circumstances that don't require systematic terror for motivation, gratitude for quotas that don't include death as alternative to achievement, recognition that modern impossibilities pale compared to historical standard operating procedures. You wouldn't last a day quarrying marble as Roman slave, not because you lack capability, because the system was designed to eliminate capability along with capable individuals. Roman efficiency applied to human resources through systematic quality control protocols. But someone did. Multiple someones. Thousands of individuals whose names weren't recorded but whose work outlasted empires, whose suffering built monuments, whose mortality created permanence, whose agony produced beauty that transcends its origins. They achieved impossible through systematic application of terror to motivation, produced excellence under threat of elimination, created beauty despite circumstances designed to eliminate beauty creators. Proved human capability transcends systematic efforts to eliminate humans. The marble remains, standing in museums, supporting ancient structures, adorning monuments celebrating achievements built through systematic human suffering. Physical evidence of human excellence under impossible circumstances. Next time you see marble columns or statuary, remember the hands that carved them, the backs that lifted them, the lives that extracted them from mountainsides using hand tools operated under threat of execution for imperfect performance. Remember that excellence persists even under impossible conditions. That precision emerges despite systematic efforts to eliminate precision achievers. That human capability transcends circumstances designed to eliminate capability. Remember that your modern conveniences, while comfortable, don't require death-defying precision for survival. That your daily challenges, while real, don't include quota mathematics with execution alternatives. That your difficulties, while legitimate, pale compared to systematic terror-based motivation protocols. Remember gratitude for circumstances that allow reading about impossible quotas rather than achieving them. For systems that motivate through compensation rather than elimination. For requirements that challenge capability rather than eliminate capable individuals. Remember the marble slaves. Their names weren't recorded, but their work remains. Their stories weren't told, but their achievements speak. Their lives were brief, but their legacy endures. Human excellence, transcending systematic human elimination. This is history worth remembering, not for entertainment, for perspective, for understanding human capability under impossible circumstances, for appreciating circumstances that don't require impossible capability for survival, for recognizing that excellence emerges even when excellence achievers don't survive their achievements, that beauty persists even when beauty creators are systematically eliminated, that human capability transcends systematic efforts to eliminate humans. The marble quarries are silent now. The slaves are gone. The quotas are history, but the stones remain, standing monuments to human excellence under impossible circumstances. Physical proof that capability transcends systematic elimination. Remember them, not as entertainment, as reminder that humans achieve impossible when properly motivated, that excellence emerges under any circumstances. That capability persists despite systematic efforts to eliminate capable individuals. Remember that you live in circumstances they would consider miraculous, that your challenges, while real, don't require death-defying precision, that your quotas, while demanding, don't include elimination alternatives. Remember gratitude for systems that support capability rather than eliminate capable individuals, for circumstances that allow reading about impossible rather than achieving impossible, for lives that don't require systematic terror for motivation. Remember the marble slaves. They wouldn't last a day in your circumstances either, not because they lacked capability, because they were conditioned for systematic terror-based motivation. Your circumstances would seem impossibly comfortable to individuals trained for survival through death-defying precision. Different impossible, different circumstances, different challenges, but same human capability transcending limitations through systematic application of whatever motivation circumstances provide, whether terror or comfort, whether elimination or reward, whether systematic suffering or systematic support. Human excellence emerges when humans apply capability to circumstances requiring capability application. The marble slaves prove this, through systematic suffering producing systematic excellence, through impossible quotas achieved through impossible precision, through mortality creating permanence that transcends its mortal creators. Their legacy stands in stone, carved through suffering, extracted through agony, created through systematic application of human capability to impossible requirements under threat of elimination. Remember them, learn from them, appreciate circumstances that don't require their level of systematic terror for motivation, recognize capability that transcends systematic efforts to eliminate capability. Remember that excellence emerges under any circumstances. That precision persists, despite systematic efforts to eliminate precision achievers. That human capability transcends systematic human elimination. The marble remembers. Even when memory of marble creators has been systematically eliminated, stone speaks when voices have been silenced. Achievements remain when achievers have been replaced. This is what survives. Not names, not stories, not individual recognition, but evidence of excellence under impossible circumstances, proof of human capability, transcending systematic human elimination, physical demonstration that achievement persists when achievers don't. Remember the marble slaves, not for entertainment, for education, for perspective, for appreciation, for understanding that excellence emerges even under systematic efforts to eliminate excellence achievers. Their impossible became possible through systematic application of terror to motivation. Your possible seems impossible compared to their circumstances. Different mathematical frameworks, same human capability transcending limitations. Learn, remember, appreciate, apply their lessons to your circumstances. Recognize that excellence emerges when humans apply capability to requirements demanding capability application. Whether under Roman quotas or modern challenges, whether motivated by terror or comfort, whether achieving survival or achieving goals, human capability transcends circumstances designed to eliminate capability. The marble slaves proved this, block by block, quota by quota, day by day until days ended. Excellence emerging through systematic suffering, achievement transcending systematic elimination, capability persisting despite systematic efforts to eliminate capable individuals. Their lesson endures, carved in stone, extracted through suffering, created through impossible precision, under threat of elimination. Physical proof that human excellence transcends systematic human elimination. Remember them,